Hello, my name's Connor Murray.
I'm Deborah Murray, Connor's mom. Nice to meet everyone. We're just going to we have a few questions that we're going to talk about today, and we will give our answers the best we can. So the first question is, talk about when we first noticed neurological symptoms and what they were. So I think probably I'm better to answer that because I'm the one. Okay. So Connor was in a motor vehicle accident in 2016. In 2017, he kept having stomach issues, right? Where he just kept throwing up all the time. And we weren't sure what was going on. And so we went to the pediatrician. They really weren't sure what was going on. It continued for quite a while. I'm going to say maybe 6 months or so.
Something like that.
And then
At least,
and then we ended up, then one day, he ended up having a seizure in the bathroom while he was throwing up. Later on, we realized that's the throwing up is a trigger for him. We'll talk about that later. So once I saw him having a seizure, he was on the bathroom floor. I knew what it was because my older son has epilepsy as well, grand mal seizures, that are controlled by medication now. So we knew what it was, and we knew we had to deal with it. So we first started out with a regular neurologist, and we saw her for a bit. Wasn't too happy there. We knew we needed something better because what we were doing there wasn't really doing anything.
Yeah, it was just really continuing.
Yeah, so we moved up to an epileptologist, neurologist, and that was Dr. Segal. And, we started doing testing, the EEGs, the MRIs, all those tests. Those tests take a lot of time. In the interim, they were trying different medications with him, but it seemed every month it was almost cyclical, which is quite weird. Every month he would have seizures around the same time, and it would be like a 3-day event.
I would just feel like the way it would start, how I knew a seizure was coming on, is that like after a month would go by, it would come on again, and then I would get like hot and cold, starting to kind of feel like sweaty, but I'll be cold at the same time. And then next thing you know, I'm starting to feel like I'm kind of dizzy, can't really answer. My mom would come upstairs trying to talk to me, and that's how you know, like, I'm not really responding fully, and I can't respond, and I'm just kind of gazing off. That's how you know, like, that was a sign, and that a seizure was most likely.
So we did the medication route. It seemed like he's still on 3 medications now, but it seemed like every medication that he was on, even though we would up it or lower it or whatever the case may be, it still kept happening. Like there was really no hope in sight with that because the medication was just failing. I think we did 5 different medications, and we had rescue medications as well. So currently he's on Depakote, Briviact, and Xcopri. So, those treatments were not effective. Then Dr. Segal had talked to us about surgery, and we weren't really too sure. We didn't talk too much about it. We weren't really ready for it at the conversation, I think, so we kind of dropped it. And then we approached it again. Yeah. About a year later.
Yeah, we approached it just again.
Kept happening.
Yeah, we're like, staying the same way.
Just see. But it didn't change. So we approached the surgery topic about a year later again, and we really sat down with Dr. Segal and we talked about it. Next step is he brought in Dr. Tomich, and we had a group meeting at Dr. Segal's office. So it was myself and Connor and Dr. Tomich and Dr. Segal.
Yep.
So that's where we really started the surgery journey and discussing,
discussing it and getting more deep into it.
Getting a little more comfortable and asking questions.
Yeah.
Right? So then once we had a plan, that's when we started doing all the testing, right? So the testing, the EEGs, the MRIs, there's a test where you take an MRI and they turn off one half of your brain and then they turn off the other half of your brain. I know it sounds really scary, but it's very controlled. It's about an hour test, and they test to see what side your memory is on, and whether you're right-handed, left-handed, all those things, because when you have surgery, they want to make sure those things aren't going to be affected.
Yeah.
So we did that, and that took some time.
It did.
That took some time.
It did.
We spent a lot of time in the hospital
reason why
on
it
testing.
took so much time on testing is because you have to understand, of course, if you're not really experiencing this, firsthand, going into surgery for, obviously your brain, you have to make sure, they're getting absolutely 100%, all the information they need to be doing this, because, this isn't just doing stitches on a, putting a Band-Aid on something. This is going into your brain.
Yeah. So the testing, and in the interim from 2016 to 2022, when we had the surgery, we spent a lot of time in the hospital. The ambulance was there a lot because he would have his seizures. It was like back and forth. But anyway, getting back to the testing for the surgery. So there's a lot of tests to be done. And you will, it's time consuming.
Yeah.
Let's see, what is the next question? We did not experience a delay in surgery. Once we kind of had a plan, and we asked a lot of questions and did a lot of research, we pretty much were on track.
Yeah.
With Dr. Tomich to get things done. He made himself very available.
Yeah.
And his team as well for any questions. And no questions are stupid questions. I probably drove him insane.
Some might probably stupid questions.
I texted and called him a lot, but he was very open to talk with us. So that was really great, because that helped in our decision that he would be the one. And then we met Dr. Tomich in another one of his offices, I believe in Newark, and we had another conversation there to talk about the test before, the final test before the surgery, and that was done in Morristown. And yeah, I think we're going to take a break now, and we will come back.
And we'll give you another part. We'll give you
another part 2. Okay? Thank you.